Well, good morning everybody. Welcome to our next Church in Your Box family time. Unlike last time when I was in my kitchen, I'm now sitting here in the comfy chair in my lounge. Cup of coffee in hand, and most of those who know me really well know this is not that unusual. It's been a really strange week, really, hasn't everyone? Lots of things have changed this week, almost daily. And yeah, for families, people are now at home. Kids, you're now at home. Not quite on holiday. Still, no doubt, with online lessons or work sent home. I know in this house it's a hive of activity. We have media production going on, music production going on, and final art pieces being crafted. And daily check-ins with college and online lessons happening. I also haven't always been here this week. I've had a strange week looking after my parents who have been unwell. But I'm now back home where they needed, where I should be, so I can get these things done and out to you. So, strange week and strange times. And actually, it's in these times where we really need to dig into the Bible to see what God's got to say to us and where we can find comfort, inspiration, guidance. And when Martin and I were talking online earlier this week about family time for today, because today's the fifth Sunday, certainly not the service that was being planned for today. We don't normally have family times on the fifth Sunday, so we didn't have a water-themed one ready to go. But both of us we're talking about Old Testament stories of where God helped his people when they were under siege, which is how sometimes we can really feel with this current situation going on. We're all in our homes. We're, in theory, not allowed out apart from to exercise, or those of us who need to go to the supermarket and deliver food for people. But definitely the older ones of our church family will be not encouraged to go out. And those who are ill, definitely not to go out. It can feel like that we are under siege in our own homes. And we both were discussing a story. And I then went off and got my Bible and started searching through the Old Testament to find this story. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was on video call with Corinne while I was at my mum and dad's. I said, I'm trying to find the story and I can't find it. I know it's there, but I can't find it. About 10 seconds later, she was like, oh, you mean this story? And she had gone to Google and found it immediately. Why didn't I think of that? But there we go. So this story is found in 2 Kings. A period of history for the people of Israel where when you read these books, they can be hard to understand because it just seems like they're fighting all the time. And this is another fighting story. So at this one, the people of Israel were at war with the king of a place called Aram. I hope I've pronounced that right. And he wanted to lay a trap and defeat the army of Israel. So he sent his soldiers out to hide, and what he didn't know was the king of Israel was being guided by God through his prophet Elisha. And Elisha told the king of Israel, there's a trap that way, don't go down there. So they didn't. And the king of Aram could not work out what had happened. You could say he threw his toys out the pram, because he accused all his advisors of being spies, listening around the corner and running off and sending a messenger to the king of Israel saying, oh, my king's going to set a trap. He's going to wipe you all out if you go that way. But they were like, no. It's not us. We have found out that the king of Israel has a man of God. And the man of God obviously told him what was going to happen. Well, this only made the king of Aram even angrier. So he loaded up all his soldiers on their chariots and horses and sent them out to find this holy man. And they found out that he was at a town or a city called Dothan. So they went and surrounded Dothan, so nobody could get in or out. Now, it sounds as though this happened overnight. And Elisha's servant got up in the morning. You know, I don't know what you do when you get up in the morning. He maybe had a stretch, stroked his beard, because majority of them had beards those days. You know, not like this, probably a lot bigger. Looked out the window. And I could just, my brain goes like this. Do you look out the window and go, they were not there when I went to bed last night, because there's lots of angry looking soldiers and I think we're in trouble. So he went off to see his master, Elisha, and he said, Elisha, there's a massive army surrounding the city and I think we're in trouble and I'm really scared. Now, Elisha, like all the God's prophets, seems to be the sort of man who would do the things that we'd never expect. He just said to his servant, that's all right, don't worry. There are more on our side than there are out there. Elisha's servant was like, what? So Elisha prayed, God, open his eyes. Let him see how you are protecting us. All of a sudden, the eyes of this young man were opened. And this is not, but spiritually opened. He could see what God was doing. And he looked to the mountains. And guess what he saw? He saw horses and chariots on fire. Angels, an army of them. More than was surrounding their city. God's army was bigger and mightier. Then Elisha saw that the army of Aram were about to attack. So he prayed again. And this is another strange prayer in some senses. He was like, oh God, make the army go blind. And God did. And the Bible tells us this. Elisha called out to them saying, no, not this way. You need to go that way. Follow me and I'll take you to the city that you want. And he led them away from Dothan into Samaria. And when they entered the city that he took them to, Elisha prayed, open their eyes so they can see where they are. And when they looked around, they found out that they were trapped. And the king of Israel said, okay, we've now got all these prisoners. What should we do with them? Should we just kill them all? And Elisha was like, no way, man. Not when God's delivered them to us without killing anybody, without anybody being hurt. No, you're going to throw a party for them. You're going to feed them, give them something to drink. And then we're going to send them home. Which is exactly what happened. And then the king of Aram didn't bother to attack the people of Israel anymore because he knew that God was mightier than he was. So, what's this story got to tell us today? Well, because I really want you to listen. At the moment, things can be really scary, very confusing. And I appreciate for you, some of it is not really understandable. For those of us who are, this word which I don't like, adults, it's scary as well. It's uncertain. We don't know what is going to be the next thing that's going to happen. We can feel like we are surrounded. We can feel like we're trapped in our own homes. And for some people, unfortunately, that is the case because they're not able to go out because either they're ill or they're elderly and we need to look after them. But for me, in all that, this story tells me that God has got me in his hands. He's protecting me. We long in this household to have known that God protects us by having angels stationed at our house, looking after us, protecting us from things that want to come and cause harm or destroy. Does that mean that we may not get sick? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that God is looking after us and will provide for us? Yes, it does. And I've seen that in different ways this week. You know, letters going through my parents' letterbox from neighbours and people in their road who, some of whom they've never really spoken to sometimes or met that much, offering to help. People going and getting things for them when they can't leave. And I'm sure we all probably can have people who can tell that story. Or we have ourselves have done it for someone. Being, God's angel hands to deliver something. And kids, you can be this as well. Consider sending a message via your mum and dad's email or Facebook to perhaps somebody who is definitely shut at home, who may not see anyone or hear from anyone. Maybe draw them a picture and take a photograph of it and email it to them. I don't know. But all these things are reminders of how God is looking after us, because he's put us in this family called Living Stones. And we're so blessed, kids, to have you as part of our family. And there will be people missing seeing you, hearing you run around on a Sunday morning, knowing that there is this young life in our church. So this story in Kings, from so long ago, from part of the Bible perhaps we don't look at very often, really does remind me that God is greater than anything that this world's going to throw at us. And his angels and his army is more powerful. And he is protecting us in ways that we can't see. So until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and remember, God loves you. Speak to you soon.